this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
No.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings. Greetings. You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what we got.
Yeah.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
So we're going quick.
Yep.
So we got 7 to get through, is what you said? But I got
believe so.
So I'm going to start with this.
I'm still waiting for them to send me a box.
Well, I mean, I paid for it.
Well, I did too. Long time ago.
So I've got my birthday coming up very shortly. Matter of fact, this will premiere the day after my birthday.
Yes.
And I was able to...
Belated happy birthday.
Some
early late. Early late.
And I was able to get a new order to complete some stuff, which is really awesome.
Cool.
So this gives me a exclusive offer to enter my promo code. So I will hold that one off, which is this little thing there.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a pickup, right? This is going to be a big one. So let's start with our first one. What do you think?
Brown paper sack.
You'll see a theme here, though. A very extensive theme.
Expensive.
Because I've been meaning to complete my stuff here for a while, and I finally got the money to do it. So this is Fate Grand Order First Order.
Oh, wow.
Aniplex release.
Okay.
I don't know much about this, as I know the Fate series. Fate Stay Night would be the first. Actually, let me put this up so you guys can see a little bit better right here. Fate Stay Night is a series of a bunch of wizards who summon various creatures to fight for them. The first series and the movie and Limited Blade Works you can actually get relatively cheap. But the rest is released purely through Aniplex.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's a spin-off series that has been released by
Ismailia, whatever it is.
But the third season is owned by another series. I'm not sure about that one. So about whether that one will get a release or not, the third season of that one. I've got the first 2 seasons. So I've got a decent number, but I am still missing a number. But that's going to be shortly remedied through this pickup. So,
okay.
Woohoo!
Nice. My first one is nowhere near so grandiose nor so expensive. Basically, to start with, if you watched our last week's presentation on Inside Movies Galore, and if you didn't, you should tune in after this. We discussed one of our host Dave's favorite films, Encino Man. And in order to prepare for his film, I tried to get it on eBay. I did not succeed because I didn't try very hard. But I did end up with one particular vendor getting 2 other films that I did succeed in getting. Both films I think I got for $1, and I think if you included shipping, it came to about $3 each-ish, which is not bad. And the first one is a film I've wanted for a long time. I enjoyed it when I saw it. It was nothing earth-shattering, and it's so damn cheap, I never got around to getting it because it was too cheap. And that is a movie called America's Sweethearts, which does have a really good cast. You got John Cusack, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Julia Roberts, and Billy Crystal. And Stanley Tucci, Hank Azaria, Christopher Walken, Seth Green. I mean, that is a hell of a cast. And like I said, it's a moderately diverting film. It actually does have, most of those are kind of special features you like to mock. But, it does have special features.
Animated venues.
Exactly. But anyway, so this one, I'm glad I finally got it. Now I don't have to keep putting it back.
So I guess I'll get my next one out of this bag.
Mm-hmm.
Another brown thing, which I'm glad they've taken care to wrap these right. That's multiple items in here, so I guess you'll have to bear with me on that. But I'm going to go ahead and present these as one.
Okay.
Which is 2 out of the 3 movies. They haven't released the third one yet. And these are the regular editions of Heaven's Feel, Fate movies.
Oh.
1 and 2 here. So 1 is Heaven's Feel, Lost Butterfly. That's 2. 2 is Lost Butterfly. And the first one is Presage Flower. And a lot of these are kind of like alternate universe and retellings. The Fate series is very convoluted in its stories. A lot of restarts, retellings, alternate universes. So it's hard to say, but it's kind of cool to have these 2 films.
It is based on a video game series, and I think this is one of those franchises where they kind of play into that by showing you different possible outcomes.
Well, the last movie comes out this fall, so we'll see how it goes release-wise. I'm going with the basic editions because I was looking at them. I really didn't feel the need to get the big editions. These are expensive enough.
Right.
All right.
So again, another one that set me back a pretty penny. This is actually a movie that I saw way back in the day. I think I saw it on television, and I've never seen it since then. But I feel like it's worth having. And it is a film that's more up your alley, I would think. John Carpenter's remake of the classic horror film Village of the Damned, which this version actually is the one with Christopher Reeve and Kirstie Alley. I think this was the last thing Reeve did before his riding accident. So it has a little bit of potentially historical value there. But I remember it being fairly interesting. I haven't seen it in years, and one day, but I haven't.
It's a relatively creepy film. I enjoyed it.
Right.
It's not as hard to watch as some of that person's films.
Right.
So I had in our NIS discussion, which will come back in the future.
Okay.
A series called Natsume's Book of Friends, which they've released the first 4 series. Unfortunately, the series has 6 seasons, a movie, and 2 OVAs. Now, the 2 OVAs, you could say it's a side story. 5 and 6 have no release planned, which sucks. But you can watch it through streaming. But the movie, oddly enough, got a release from Aniplex. I never have thought to myself, well, I wish Aniplex would release something, but I would like to at least get the last 2 seasons of the darn series.
Right.
But it's a pretty cool series. It's about a guy who ends up going basically getting this book that has all of these yokai's names in it, and he's giving them back to the yokai that his mother went and took. And he's been accompanied by this kind of cat demon thing.
Right.
So up here.
Yes, what's he called? Nyanko Sensei? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, and Yanko
He's,
Sensei.
he's awesome.
It's a great series. I really love it, and I am sad to see that it's getting such a crap thing. And I decided to go ahead and get this as sort of an encouragement. Hey, there's interest here.
Yeah.
And this might, and if there isn't enough interest, this will go away, and I want to at least have some.
It's a lovely, shaky series. I'm enjoying it. So a series that I've been wanting for a while, a long while, and a big part of the problem is Funimation did a kind of a screwy release for this one. I really wanted the limited edition, but even now I'm not certain. You might know better. If there were 2 limited editions or just one that you're supposed to slip 2 into the first, I honestly can't remember. But it did finally break down. I got prices I couldn't refuse. I finally broke down and got the limited edition season or part 1 edition of Space Dandy. And I also got season 2. So,
Cool.
like I said, do you know if this one had a limited or if this one is supposed to go inside the box?
I think it's supposed to go inside the box.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing a limited.
Right. But anyway, so I finally got this one. Artwork, if I recall correctly, I believe is artwork and produced by Shinichiro Watanabe. I've heard this is a really fun show. I've heard it's kind of crazy and weird. I really want to see it.
Yeah.
Now I have it.
Less Room, which is the 2-season set, but it's cool to have it like that.
Right. Well, I saw that first limited set. I think it dropped to 15, if I remember correctly. I was like, I can't pass that up.
Yeah, it is hard to pass that up.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. So they just wrapped the rest of it in the
Okay.
empty now.
Okay.
This is 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 so far I've done. So let's put that in there. And let's see here. So this next one is one of their big limited sets, which is only released in this format, which is Fate Extra Last Encore. Which is, again, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that I'm able to finally get a hold of these, which is...
That actually doesn't look bad for an Aniplex set.
These are pretty cool sets that come in. The problem with it is that these are extremely expensive ones.
Yes.
Not as expensive as the original release of Zero and that. Those were like $500 a piece. These are not.
That extra 1/8 inch to the cardboard thickness ups the price significantly.
And this one actually has a fairly thick cardboard, which is different.
That's what I'm saying.
It has basically a booklet in it. You'd hope it'd have like a soundtrack, but yeah.
You would.
So, I don't know much about this series, but I'm curious about this. This one's more of an offshoot, if I recall correctly. All right.
All right. Now, speaking of your limited edition sets, this is actually one that we covered on this channel just a couple weeks ago. And I believe that we ended up deciding that I could only rate it as yes, please. But then, as fate would have it, it ended up getting pre-ordered, so we can say it was a priority. And that is Sentai's limited edition release of Mysteria Friends, which is not the fanciest looking set they've done, but we did show you that nice little graphic they had on Right Stuff. But this is a nice looking little box. It's a lot of fun. As we said in that video, it's a short series, short episodes, a spin-off of Rage of Bahamut. I look forward to that. Should be fun.
Okay, so I'm going to grab, because I realize it's going to be 5 minutes. So I got to grab my 2 more, which won't be as impressive. This will probably be the most impressive here. And the rest of them will be kind of like, okay. So the last thing I got to catch myself up to the series is Fate Apocrypha, which is 2 parts.
Oh, wow. I will have to envy you that one, I think.
So that's I've heard this is, out of what I've got here, this is the one that's got the best rating,
Mm-hmm.
and probably the one that was the most expensive.
Probably.
But again, alternate retelling,
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool stuff. They both have soundtracks to them,
Mm-hmm.
so that's pretty cool in of itself. And I don't mind how they've packaged these. Like I said, these have got that thick cardboard to them.
Mm-hmm.
I like the artwork.
Right.
I do like the artwork, so I'm kind of glad to finally get that out of the way. It's
Right.
one of those like high tier things. They'd be a yes please because of what they are.
Right.
But then again, they might end up being a priority because it was gotten as soon as I had the money to get it. So,
Right.
I mean, one thing I thought was interesting about this Grand Order one, if you take a look at the way that this is put together, I mean, look at that there. It's kind of weird looking, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
It just doesn't look traditional.
Uh,
Not traditional.
all right.
All right.
Now, my last three are all very definite yes pleases. And the first one is one that actually goes back to my project of trying to get my top 20 films from each year. And this is actually an Oscar winner, so I do believe you've long since had this one in the collection. But it's a really, really good film, a really hard one to watch, but a really good film called Still Alice. It features Julianne Moore in an Oscar-winning role. Also features Alec Baldwin, Kristen Stewart, Kate Bosworth, and a number of other individuals, based on the book by Lisa Genova. And it's basically about I believe she's an English professor, but she's a professor who has early onset Alzheimer's. And it's basically about her struggles to deal with it and her family struggles to deal with it. And it's, like I said, not exactly a simple and pleasant watch, but it's a darn good movie. Very impressive acting. Happy to finally have that one.
Well, my next one won't be as impressive as that.
Will it be as impressive as America's Sweethearts?
But it'll be. It's much more expensive than the others that I've shown. So all together, wouldn't. No, just kidding. This was brought in like a 4 documentary pack that I think I showed a little bit of last week. I can't remember. But I think so because I did the one on Comic-Con, I think, last time. But this one is How to Live Forever. Results.
I want to see that.
It's a fun documentary because it goes into the various ways people try to extend their life.
Right.
And they are quite varied.
Yes.
Including this fellow. So it was just a very amusing one. I'd gotten in that 4-pack with the Comic-Con one that I showed last time. It's like I say, it was fun. What Movie One was selling it on his eBay page, so you should check it out. Check out his page. Check out his thing. Shout out to him, and you might find a good deal on his eBay.
Good deal. All right, now again with this one, I had Oscar minted class and quality and everything, like the critic giving it a 7 out of 10, his highest rating. And so my next one is going to be even more classy and impressive and just absolutely the most high quality content imaginable. And I got it in the same package. And I am, of course, speaking of Funimation's release of the series, going to be the Twin Tail. Which this is one that's been on my list for some time. And I am very, very happy to finally have it. We actually started watching this one as a prelude to a game we were doing that was Sailor Moon based. And we were pairing this, I think, with Sailor Moon, right?
I think so.
The original Sailor Moon, and we were watching it, and the show is so over the top absurd. It's basically a send up of both Magic Girl and Sentai series. And basically, the main character is this dude who is absolutely obsessed with the twin tail. What do they call it? The twin tail affect, or the
he just
whatever
likes.
they call it. He just loves twin tails.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's got a perversion for it.
So much so that he is granted, I believe, by this lady who's like an alien or whatever, who he is granted the ability to become a magical girl, twin red. And these other characters become tail red. And then you got tail blue and tail yellow. And they fight big alien creatures. And the whole thing has a Power Rangers Sentai vibe to it. But again, with that magical girl twist. And all the aliens are here to capture. Basically, each one of them has a particular interest. And they're trying to stamp out that interest on Earth. And it doesn't hit everyone, unfortunately. Some of them are overlooked, and it's probably for the better that some of the others are overlooked. But it makes for a jolly good time of trashy fun, and it's such a fun show. Not high art, but fun.
Actually, I have the Essentials copy, as you
Woo-hoo!
which I got for under 10, which was my price point for the series.
And I paid a little more, but I actually got the original release. So
Yeah, it didn't strike me as high art. That was one on that would have gone on the curious end for me, but not on the priority list.
Oh, it was a yes, please for me.
My last one is it's the one that's I've looked at people on it, and people are kind of divided on this one. And this is the Jason Mewes film, Madness in the Method.
Oh.
Which I also got off of Wet Movie 1. And it's not really a Kevin Smith film, though it does have Kevin Smith in it, playing himself. Jason Mewes playing himself. The one I love Danny Trejo in this. I mean,
well, you just sold me on it.
And it's got basically a lot of the View Askew-averse people in it. He's with his girlfriend. They're sitting there. He's trying to sell himself as a more serious actress because Dante from
more serious actress,
the actor, yeah. So because Dante from Clerks is producing this high budget movie because he's apparently made it as a famous director. And they're not taking him seriously because they're like, oh yeah, just say snoochie boochies for us, these type of things. So he gets a hold of this book on method acting. But apparently this book is cursed, and it leads him to just start murdering people.
Huh.
It gets very dark very quick. So a lot of people were not very happy with this because it wasn't what they were expecting. But to me, as a dark comedy, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. It's got Stan Lee in it, so it's kind of fun too.
Oh, wow.
So if anything, it's worth watching. I really do think that and if you like a lot of Kevin Smith films, I think you will like this. I think it's better than some of the Kevin Smith films out there. So worth a watch.
Okay.
Good thing, good strong ending for me.
All right. And I'm also going to end on something a little bit out there, but if you watch this channel, but definitely if you watch our Movies Galore and Delusions of Grandeur discussions, you'll see that we as a group are big pushers for supporting independent film and small artists that may not get a lot of love from the mainstream. and being collectors, part of our goal tends to be preserving some of these for posterity. So after a discussion at one point not long ago, I felt a little guilty about not having ordered this one because I absolutely loved the first film in the series, and I did enjoy the second one. And this is a series. This is a movie by a little outfit. They call themselves Dark Maze, and it's a film called Press Start 2, Continue. And of course, the original Press Start is one of the great video game movies, like probably one of the best ones ever made. This one suffers from the kind of what a lot of these do of like the second time around, there was a little bit of a higher budget and higher expectations, but still it managed to be a pretty good film. And the blatant Mortal Kombat knockoff character from the first film becomes the key character, along with this weird princessy character. That's an odd couple, to say the least.
Really fun overall series, though. I'm glad that you found it. I think it's out of print, isn't it?
I think it is. It was difficult to find a copy. Yeah, but I actually managed to get a new one, so excellent. All right.
And so, I guess for this time, we did pretty good for time. We're going to be jumping right into our discussion, but I hope you all have enjoyed this. Click that subscribe button, share, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.